My name is Parisha Robinson. I just recently read the book The Bluest Eye by Toni Morrison. Um, I'm going to discuss basically what I felt is the message of it all, or what I got out of the book. Um, First off, it's based in Ohio around 19 in the 1960s. So the aspect of racism is still very blatant and very obvious. And because of that, that was what I feel was a big role in what happened to the main protagonist, or the protagonist, Bacola. Um, she came from a troubling household. Her mother and father were both victims of their own lives, and since they were so broken, they kind of shifted that onto her, which was no better because society and the world at that time is already very evil to her because of her appearance. So basically, Bacola feels as if she had white features, bluest eyes, pink skin, blonde hair, you know, all of those things, the key features of a white person. And like I said, at that moment was the standard of beauty. That's what everyone's seen. If you weren't that, you weren't anything. And because she was all the opposites of that, she felt that's where her turmoil was kind of deriving from. Um, Her own mother even despised her features, and that's probably something that hurts the most because your family, those are your first line of defense, because for the first few beginning of your life, you don't know how to defend yourself. You don't know why things are the way that they are. So you depend on your parents, your guardians, or whoever to protect you, or at least explain to you why things are the way they are. And they totally failed at that. Um, Also, Claudia and her sister, they they didn't really fail her, but they could have done a little bit more. Um, Basically, the book, what I got out of the book from just those few key points right there, is it's about self hate, the evils of the world, especially at that time. Self hate because Nicola didn't like the way she looked, because she felt like everything from her father raping her to her mother not loving her to society seeing her as basically hideous was because she was black. So she hated how she looked, therefore she hated herself. And she felt as if she had those features, she would be fine. So self-hate is definitely one of the key points. Racism and just hate between human beings, that was a very depressing time, and it's sad because it still goes on today. Like I said, it's not as obvious, it's not as blatant, but it still goes on today, and it still affects people in the same way. And you can see that in the media, you can see that in many different ways. It hasn't gone anywhere, it's just done a better job of hiding. It's explained nicer. So racism, the importance of raising people and overcoming all of the adversities in your life is a big deal, because Pacola's parents did not do that. Everyone has some type of obstacle in their life, but you're going to be a very unhappy, a very damaged, and a very terrible person if you don't let that go. They didn't let that go. They didn't overcome. They just shifted it onto Pacola, who already had enough on their plate because of the era that they were living in. And there's nothing that anyone could do about that. Once you're born, you're born, you know. Um, all in all, I think the book is still very relevant to today. Lots of people wouldn't think so, because a lot of things isn't as obvious anymore. But if you were to ask a lot of black people in America now, they still go through the same thing. There's still self-hate, there's still racism, and there's still a lot of pain that is not being there's a lot of pain that people are not seeking out help and therapy for, you know. So this book was definitely a tragedy, and I think the worst part about this tragedy is the fact that it's very true, and it's still happening. It's sad that it's sad that it's even a thing that is even happened before, but it's still happening now today. So I think it's very relevant. It's something that a lot of people need to understand, no matter how painful it is, because a lot of people like to sweep things under the rug when it gets too explicit, too vulgar, but that's the world. And it's just sad that an 11-year-old girl has so much of the world rested upon her that way. So